Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Mourad and today I'm going to show you how to create your first physics-based game in Unity. Just like this one I built. Watch as I launch characters across the screen, smashing obstacles with realistic physics. Whether you are a beginner or looking to sharpen your skills, I will guide you step by step. Ready to create something amazing? Let's get started. So, first step is to create our project. You will go to your Unity hub and go choose any latest version of Unity you want, like 2022. I will use Unity 6. It's a latest Unity version for this project, and let's name it, for example, first mobile game. Okay, so good. And let's choose the location, and okay, let's create our project by clicking here. Awesome. Our project is ready. So after creating the project, I organized everything into a folder for sprites and scripts and prefabs. So let's create those folders. Okay, create folder. Let's name it sprites. Another one. Oops. And another one. Let's name it scripts. And let's create another one for our prefabs. Okay, awesome. With the project structure in place, I imported my sprites. So let's go here and let's go to our asset and let's drag it and here. Awesome. So we have our players. It's a funny pumpkin and an enemy. It's a ghost. I used the theme of Halloween. So anyway, don't worry about these assets and all the resources. I will leave link in the description to download all of that on my GitHub. So let's move to the next step. Okay, now let's create our first player. Here, just drag this sprite and grab it here. Then let's change the name to player. Okay, player. Awesome. Our player is here, as you can see. Here is our player. So let's go to add some components. Let's add a Rigidbody, because we need to implement some physics on our Rigidbody to our players. So add component of Rigidbody2D, and let's add another component. It's a collider, Circle Collider2D. Just it's set up automatically. Okay, okay, let's set up our okay, awesome. Okay, so our collider is ready to detect collision with enemies and the background and also our ground and everything. That's the purpose of our collider. Then we need to create our first script for our player. Let's create the script in C# create in behavior, and let's name it player. Here we go. This is our first script, and let's jump to scripting. Okay, click here and open Visual Studio. So let's zoom in. Okay, awesome. And let's grab the Rigidbody. So let's preview it Rigidbody2D. Let's name it Rigidbody. Maybe so good. And just we will add serialized field or use it in our inspector, and then we will create a boolean to check our player is launched or not. So let's is launched in sky or not. So let's name it boolean. Let's make it private first. Boolean, and let's name it is launched. Okay, so good. And let's create our awake function by, so what we're gonna do now, it's to set our Rigidbody as so to set our Rigidbody kinematic dot body type equal Rigidbody2D dot kinematic. Kinematic, it means our player does not affected by any physics in our Unity. Gravity is null and all forces will be null. So let's go and okay, now we're gonna create our second function. It's a public void, and let's name it launch to launch our player. Let's launch. Good. And first we will make our rigid body to affected by the physics forces. So it's rigid body dot body type, and let's make it rigid body dot dynamic. Dynamic means our rigid body will affected by any forces. And let's add when we grab our player, we need to add some forces for flying. So let's do that, and rigid body add force. So now this function takes two parameters. One, it's a vector. By the way, I add a parameter here. It's a vector 2, and let's add a force here, vector. And second parameter is our force mode, and let's use implosion for as a type of our force mode, because it's like when we want to jump, we need a force to jump. So it's the same. Implosion, it's mean add force in the beginning of the movement to fly or anything. So let's save it and go to Unity to set up our environment. Awesome. And go here. First, we forgot to transfer our project to an Android projects, which platform, because we are working in a mobile version. So we need to switch to Android. So the setup of environment is more crucial, and to make the video more concise, I already set up the environment, and I will describe any steps that I do to set up this environment. First, you need to create an empty game object. It's easy. Create an empty object and name it environment. Then we create two children from environment. One it's the ground, another one for a background. Then for our ground, just we need to go to our sprites and take our ground and grab it here. That's it. And as you can see, our ground is not displayed because our background here is hidden the ground. So to make it in the front, we need to go to, where is it? Here is it, our ground, and to create sorting layer. By default, you will find one sorting layer is a default, and we need to create more sorting layer for our game, just for setting the orders of the layers. For example, here the background is in the back of all the game objects in our scene. Then the ground. So let's check ground. Here is it. Now our ground is in front of our background. I hope you are understand what I mean. So let's delete this ground, and also after that we set up the background. It's the same of the ground. Just create an empty object for a background, then add your background here, background sprites, and then set up it. So I think that's clear. And please, if you don't understand anything, feel free to ask me in a comment and I will answer. And just one more thing before moving to the next step is please don't forget to add a box collider to every ground object. Every ground object must have a box collider, because it's so crucial and very important to detect collision between any game object from our game. So please don't forget. Just you gonna go 1 second, I will explain it. Remove component, just go here and add component box collider. That's it. It's so easy. Alright, it's time to complete setuping our player. So let's go to the player game object and add script that was created. It's a player, and add it to the player game object. Okay, and now let's add a rigid body to our player. Okay, all right. So what we're gonna do now is to create our first prefab. Okay, let's go to prefabs and take this player game object, drag it and drop it in the prefab folder. Here we go, it's our first prefab. Now we need to handle the inputs of we need to launch our player when we drag it and drop it. Okay, to do that I created the GameManager game object, but before that I created a start position. This start position, it's a, as you can see here, start position, it's a position that where our players spawn it, and because we need to spawn more players, so for that we created GameManager. The GameManager has already this script of PlayerLauncher. Okay, let's go to the script and see what this PlayerLauncher do. Okay, as you can see, I already created the script, and also I added comments to be clear. So first we need the player position, start position, and also the player game object. It's reference to the player object, and also I created this variable. It's a holden player that check if we are our player held or not. And also we need the camera game object, because the camera it will help us to detect the position, and when we drag from one position to another one, the camera will calculate this. And let's move to the bottom and see all of them. So this PlayerLauncher has some functions like input down that method detect if we are input in our player or not, and this one input up to detect if the touch or the mouse is released. It's as you can see, it handles the input system of our game. Okay, and let's go to the, and also we have this method set new player. So this set new player function, it's the responsible for instantiate our new players. It take a player prefab as a parameter, and also it need a position that we will instantiate our player, and also the rotation. So we use the quaternion.identity. After instantiate our game object, we need to get the player. So let's move to the top and see. And also here in update method, we check if the input is detected and the player hasn't been launched yet, and handle all input or touches, and also calculate the distance between our clicked position, and also it's launch our player. Here it's called launch function that we created in our player. And we forget here to add multiply the magnitude of our vector by 4 or 5. Let's take 5 as an example, and let's save it. And okay, so that's the player launcher script. Please, if you don't understand anything in this script, just feel free to comment below and we will answer it. So let's jump to our Unity, and okay, here we are, and let's go to GameManager, PlayerLauncher, and let's add start position and also the player. Let's go to our prefabs and take this player here. And I think we will not use this player. Okay. And also we need in our GameManager a script called GameManager. Here is it. And this GameManager, it's the one that handles spawning our object. Let's go to the script and see. As you can see here, it's take the list of players, and also this is a singleton pattern public that's allowing easy access to the script from other scripts. And also we called spawner new player to spawn our new player. Here is the function. It's called the player launcher here. The function that's spawning our players. Okay, and let's go to Unity and let's play our game. Okay, but before that, But before that, we need to add some players here. Let's go to the prefabs and take this one, and let's take 2 for example, and let's play our game. Boom, as you can see, our player is spawned, and let's drag it and drop it. Boom. As you can see, the collision was not detected. And it's the problem. Let's go to our environment, ground, and let's take all those ground, and this is the problem. Box collider. This is for 3D game objects. It's a mistake, and we need just a 2D box collider. So let's start again and see what will happen. Here is our player, and what we're gonna do now is to keep the action centered, I wrote a camera controller. Where is it? In the main camera, and it's in our scripts. It's a camera controller script that smoothly follows the player, and let's see the scripts. Camera controller. Here is it, our camera controller. It's combined with a background. This created a dynamic visual experience that enhances the gameplay. So let's see what I mean in scripts. First, we need to grab our player, and this variable reference to player object that the camera will follow. And offset, it's a horizontal offset between the camera and the player. Also, we use again its simpleton pattern. And let's go to see. And also, we create a new function. It's set player, that take as a parameter a new player, and player equal new player. Set player reference to the newly provided player, and also in the, we created a vector tree for our new position to get player current position, and we set the new position of our camera to -10, and just to keep it at the same depth, and also transform.position equal new position. That means immediately set camera's position to the player position. And we have the fixed update function that execute our script every moment, and this moment is constant. And also here we check if our player is in the scene. If not, it will ignore it. And here we check if the player has been launched, and if the player X position is greater than or equal to the camera's X position minus the offset. And if this condition is released, we need to make our camera move smoothly toward the player's position with a specific offset. So after that, let's go to Unity and see what's going on. So here is our Unity, and here in the main camera objects, we have the camera controller. And we go to our prefabs and takes the player and drag it and drop it here, and we make the offset 2, and you can change it as you want. So let's click in play and see what will happen. Okay, let's drag and drop our player. Here we go. Yes, it looks so nice. And after that, it will disappear because here we have in our player this Rigidbody.sleeping. You check when our player don't affected by any force, then it will show its situation where it is sleeping, and we destroy our game object. But here in our camera controller, we have a PlayerLauncher, and we add this line of code that take the camera controller and set player. This we call this function. So our camera was set up successfully, and let's move to the next step, is to set up our enemies. So as we know, no game is complete without a challenge. So I added enemies that the player need to destroy. Each enemy react to collision with the player, and if the impact is strong enough, then get destroyed, adding a satisfying element of physics-based interactions. So let's go and see. Here is our enemy, and I created just you need to create a prefab of your enemy, like what we do to create the player. So our enemy must have Rigidbody and a Circle Collider, and also enemy scripts. Let's see the enemy scripts. Let's go to Visual Studio. Our enemy script has this function on collision enter 2D. As you can see, this script handles what happens when objects like an enemy collide with something in a 2D game. So first we check if there is no player, so no need to call this function. And also here we check if the collision impact was strong, because here we are collision that relative velocity that magnitude is greater than 2. So we check the magnitude of our velocity is greater than 2, and if the player has been launched. So let's call the function that we was created in our game manager to destroy our enemy. Let's jump and see it. Here is it in our game manager. Destroy enemy. So what do we do here? First we create a list of enemies, and every enemy, when we destroy an enemy, we need to remove it from our list. Then we destroy the game object. So that's what we do for our enemies, and let's play our game and see what will happen. Okay, let's drag and drop. Boom, our enemy is destroyed. But before that we go to the game manager and add enemies here. So we have this enemy, just drag it and drop it here, as you can see. And every enemy it must add it to this list to detect the collision between the enemy and to destroy it after the collision with the player. So let's jump to the next step and set up some UI for our game. So now it's time to set up our first level. So just I created some prefabs from our sprites, and like this block, metal block, just all blocks has the same components. Let's check, for example, this metal blocks and go here. Let's check it. Sorry. Okay, it has a box collider and Rigidbody2D. And what is the difference between those blocks is just add some mass. For example, this metal blocks must have, for example, 5 kilograms, and for example this one has 2, and this blue blocks has, for example, 8. And after that I created some enemies, those ghosts, and I just go to the game manager and added every ghost to my enemy list here. And after that I created my UI. Let's play the game first, and then we can go to our script to see what happened and what is this news. Okay, boom. And our UI displayed this button to go to the next player, and let's drag and drop. Game over. It starts. Okay, as you can see, it's so awesome and it's so funny. So just let's stop and go to see what we do. So finally I implement a UI interface. Here is it, and I created a main canvas, and it has next button and next button. Let's see, here is our next button with a text notch pro. You can edit here, you can make 7 or what you want. And after that we have the end panel. End panel is that, and that's a black panel. And we have win game object and also the lose game object. And in the main canvas we have this game UI script that takes next button and end screen panel and win and lose. We go to the GameUI to check the scripts. Okay, awesome. So this script, as we said, it takes those game objects, and it has a singleton pattern, and we have this on next button click function that spawn new player. Tell GameManager to spawn a new player, and we hit after that we hit the next button after it has clicked. Also we have on restart that will reload current scene to restart the game. And also we have this one, it's to launch ended screen. And it has this method is called to display end screen when the game ends, and it showed end screen UI, and it showed the win UI element if the player won, and also it showed lose UR element if the player lost. So let's jump to Unity, and but before we have this GameManager. We created this function player finished. That's called our GameUI to display our next button or not, and that's called this function to launch end screen if the enemies if the number of enemies equals 0. And let's go to Unity and see what happened here. We go to the, where is it? For example, let's go to our next button, and here you must in this event, here in on-click event, we drag and drop our main canvas and go here and go to our script GameUI, and where is it? On the next button, click. So that's all, and this is our game. After hours of coding, testing, and tweaking, the game is finally ready. It's been an incredible journey bringing this mobile physics game to life, and I'm excited to share it with you. If you are interested in seeing more projects like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.